But here's one thing I want you to know is one, that we are just so thankful that you are here. Thankful to have the opportunity to worship alongside you. There's this part of us that has a longing for home. There's homesickness that we feel. And that homesickness that we feel has absolutely nothing to do with geography. And why do we know this? It's because I know that you can be in your house. You can be sitting in your house, surrounded by family, and still feel homesick. You can have it all. You can have the career, the one that everyone thought you would be the perfect fit for, the one that you find fulfillment in. You can have that and still feel homesick. You can have the best relationship. You can find that one person that thinks you are the greatest thing ever. Some of us guys, if we find that, you need to hold on to it. You can have that, but still feel homesick. You can do all the activities. You can have all the success that the world says you should have, and there's still something missing in your life. And you have this deep, restless ache, and it whispers to you, you're not home yet. And this is the ache that people have tried to silence for generations. We've come up with all manners of opportunity for us to reduce the aching, but we've yet to find it. We try to silence it with busyness. We try to create this world where we are consistently engaged, always entertained, always with something going into our ears, our eyes, occupying our mind. We do it with busyness. We do it with achievement. If I can make one more achievement, if I can do one more thing that will make people notice me, maybe I won't feel so much on the outside. We fill it with entertainment. And then we try to fill it with comfort. We seek things to ease the pain. We seek things to make it so it doesn't hurt so bad, so the ache isn't there and the restlessness still grows. It's the ache of searching for the shepherd. And Jesus knew this about us. He knew it about us. And Matthew recalled that Jesus, looking out over the crowds in Matthew 9:36, here's what Jesus did. He went through all the towns and villages. He was teaching in their synagogues. He was with the people. He was proclaiming the good news of the kingdom and healing every disease and every sickness. And when he saw the crowds, he had compassion on them. When Jesus saw the crowds, he had compassion on them. He didn't see them as projects. He didn't see them as something that needed his fixing. He saw them and had compassion on them because they were harassed and helpless. He said they were like sheep without a shepherd. He looked out, he saw people harassed and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd. And Jesus did not meet them with frustration. Matthew says, guys, I was there. And I watched as he went in and through the towns and the villages, as he went on in and out, healing them, teaching in the synagogues, and interacting with the people. I saw it as he looked out of the crowds. And guys, the crowds were so huge. There were times the crowds were so big that we had to step back and get on a boat and get away just so they didn't crush us. But when Jesus looked out at the people, he didn't look out with anger or bitterness or confusion. He looked out at them with compassion. Because they were like sheep without a shepherd. And that might be the most accurate description of a life without God. It's a life that's aimless. It's a life that's restless. It's homeless. And David he concluded Psalm 23 with these words. Psalm 23:6. Surely your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. But what does life look like without the shepherd? What does it look like? And what does it mean to live a life that's disconnected from the one who brings us home? Life without the shepherd leaves us homeless. David said in Psalm 23, he also said in other writings that listen, there is a place that God has for us, and it's home. We are heading home. We have a destination that right now is not the end. What follows us if we are not following the shepherd home? What follows us if we're not walking that valley? What follows us if we are not in the fold of the shepherd? There's a challenge to write the opposite of Psalm 23, to create this anti-Psalm 23. And here's how it came out. I lead my own life. There's a lot of things that I want. There's a lot that I want, and I'm looking for a place to rest, but I just can't find it. There's a lot that I worry about. The swirling waters are all around, and my soul, it's fragmented. And I'm left wondering. I'm left wandering, and I don't know where to go. I don't understand right from wrong, and I'm living for myself. And all this living for myself is not getting me anywhere. I walk by death all day long. There's a lot that I fear. I feel alone. The comforts that I chase, they're only good for a short while, and then I'm empty again. In the presence of my enemies, I'm put to shame. I feel no blessing. I feel empty inside. I don't know where good is. I don't know what my final resting place will be. I hope I find it one day. As I thought about that, I felt like this is a story of our neighbors. This is the story of our coworkers. This is the story of our friends. And this was my story when I wandered from the shepherd. You know, it's not all that poetic. but it's painfully accurate. The anti-Psalm 23 describes the default human condition without God. It's what we're like when there's no good shepherd in the mix. It's a life that is full of frantic searching, scouring but never finding. It's a life that is full of chasing comfort, but never resting. A life of accumulating moments, but still feeling empty. It's what it looks like when we try to shepherd ourselves. We end up lost. We lead ourselves. And then we get tired. We look for rest. But all we find is anxiety. We chase comfort, but it's like it's slipping through our fingers. And so we try to hold it all together. And as we try to hold it all together, our souls become fragmented. We lack direction. We crave direction. But all we do is wander. We live in fear, but we can't escape it. We search for satisfaction, but we're still empty. We long for security, but we don't know where we belong. And you want to know the most heartbreaking part of this? So many of us believe that's as good as it gets. So many believe that this is the end of it. That life somehow doesn't get better. The human heart will always be homesick until it finds rest in the shepherd. In John 10:10, Jesus said, "The thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy." Jesus says that I've come to give you life and give you life to the full. Jesus says, listen, there are so many things that are going on around you that the thief is coming and he's going to kind of push you down. He's going to steal your joy. He's going to kill your dreams. He's going to destroy your hope. But I came so that you can have life. And not just any life. I came that you can have a life that is full. A better life. But life without Jesus, it shrinks. It atrophies. Life without Jesus, it fragments our soul. And even those moments of happiness, they feel like they have leaked out as quickly as they arrive. And we think, if I could just hold on to one good thing for one moment. And the longing for something more, it just never truly goes away. So who do you know that is living the anti-Psalm 23? Who do you know that's chasing rest but is never finding it? I want to encourage you to write their name down. Write it on a piece of paper, put it in your phone, whatever it is that you do to keep track of things. And I want you to begin to pray specifically for them this week. Because every one of us knows someone who is living the opposite of Psalm 23. So what if we ask God to give us an opportunity to share the story of the shepherd? The story of the shepherd that brought you home. And maybe, just maybe, some of you here today will recognize that the anti-Psalm 23 still feels like your story. And if that is so, if that is the case, if this feels like that is your story, this is your invitation to come. This is your invitation today. You can come home. You can lay down the weight that you've been carrying. You don't have to wander anymore. Our Heavenly Father could have left us wandering. He could have left us trying to think that it all depended on us, that everything depended on us for us to find our way back home. But he didn't do that. He came looking for us. God did not wait for us to climb our way to him. He moved toward us. When we were lost, God didn't send just a little instruction sheet. When we were lost, God didn't just send a little checklist. When we were lost, God sent himself. John 1:14 says, the Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. John 1:14 tells us that God did not stay at a distance. God did not leave us to find our own way to him. He stepped into our world. He wrapped himself in humanity, and he made his home with us. When Paul wrote to the church in Philippi, he explained it this way. He said, Jesus Christ, that even though Jesus Christ was God, he didn't think that equality with God was something he was going to cling to. In other words, he was saying, listen, he just wasn't holding on to his heavenly place. Instead, he put that aside. He gave up his divine privilege and was born as a human being. Humbled. He humbled himself in obedience to God. The God that created the galaxies, that God that put the world in motion, he decided in the fullness of time to be born in a dusty manger. The God that spoke the very stars and universe into existence chose to walk with the broken. Matthew 1:23 reminds us that his very name, Emmanuel, it means God with us. See, God was not content to leave us lost. God's not content to leave you lost. He pursues you. So when Jesus looked out over the crowd in Matthew 9:36, he didn't see statistics. He didn't see the 1 in 5. He didn't see the people from this demographic are more resistant. He didn't see this age is more resistant. What he saw were sons and daughters without a home. He didn't see us as projects to fix. He saw us as sons and daughters without a home. He saw people without direction. He saw people without rest. He saw people without belonging. He saw us. And what is it that he felt? Compassion. Not compassion in, gee, that's too bad. Not compassion as in, man, I hope someone helps them. Not compassion in, I have an extra $1 or $2. But compassion that moves your whole body. The kind of compassion that makes you cross the street. The kind of compassion that allows your schedule to be interrupted. The kind of compassion that makes you step into someone's mess. And this is what our God is like. He didn't wait for us to figure it out. He didn't wait for us to clean up our act. He came looking for us. So when you pray this week, I want to challenge you not to picture God as distant. Not to picture God as demanding. But what if you picture God as moving towards you? What if you pictured him as sitting with you? What if you realized he's calling you by name? And what if you asked him to help you see others the way that he sees them? I believe that if we see as God sees, we will do as God says. And could God help us to look out and see sons and daughters who are still wandering and still searching for home? Ask God to break your heart for people who are still lost in the crowd. You know, when the shepherd found us, he didn't just rescue. He brings you home. 1 Peter 2:25 says, "You were like sheep going astray. You were like sheep without a shepherd. You're like sheep that were aimless, but now you have returned to the shepherd and the overseer of your souls." See, God's love does not just passively trail behind you like an afterthought. God's goodness and his love chases us, pursues us when we wander into places that we never should have gone. God's goodness and love pursue us when we doubt God's goodness, when we ask the hard questions and wonder, is he still with me? God's goodness and love pursue us even when we fail, even when we think we've crossed this line of no return. His goodness and love, they pursue us when shame screams louder than hope. But his pursuit is not, it doesn't pause. His pursuit doesn't pause when we're tired. His pursuit doesn't take a break when we're being inconsistent. His pursuit does not stop when we slow down. His pursuit continues faithfully, relentlessly, through every single season. His goodness and love pursue us even when we are running. Even when in our running we say, you know what, if I just had a place to hide. His goodness and love pursue us even when we didn't even know we were drifting. It's as if his goodness and love, it's as if it's this way. There's goodness right here on one side, and there's love here on the other. And every step we take, they press in closer. Goodness and love pressing in closer, catching up to us, surrounding us. goodness and love, reminding us that you are not forgotten. You are not discarded. And you are still pursued. God doesn't pursue us to punish us. He pursues us to bring us home. He pursues us to bring us home even when we try to outrun him. Even when we pretend that we don't need him. Even when we settle for lesser loves. His goodness and love never give up. David wrote, I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. This isn't an Airbnb. It's not checking it out for the weekend. This isn't a vacation from troubles. It's not like, you know what, if I could just dwell for a moment, I'll be better. It's like that myth that if you take a vacation, you're going to come back rested. What this is about, it's about permanent belonging. It's about home. It's about being finally in the place that you were destined to be. Think about it. Sheep without a shepherd is restless. A sheep without a shepherd is always searching, always looking, always on the defense, always being aware, always moving, and always vulnerable. Likely to be attacked, likely to be dragged away, likely to be alone. But with the good shepherd, that search, it ends. With the good shepherd, you never have to wonder where you belong anymore. And this ache that the human heart has always carried, it's the ache to find home. Some people spend their entire lives trying to build a version of home here on earth. And here's how they just completely to chase after these things, right? They're chasing after the things like, if I just get the right job, if I can just have the right career, have the right amount of income, if I can have the right relationships, if I could live in the right neighborhood, just enough land, no HOAs, kind of a thing. If I could have the right financial security, just enough zeros on the left side of the decimal point. If I had those things, maybe I'd feel secure and maybe I'd feel at home. But the truth is, our hearts were not made to find final rest in what we build in this life. Our hearts were made to be in the presence of the Good Shepherd. In John 14, Jesus said, I tell you the truth, I go to prepare a place for you. If it were not so, I would have told you. In my Father's house, there are many rooms, right? And we kind of cling onto that. And we think one day I'll be in that place. The sweet by and by, right? Maybe one day as I breathe my last breath, I will be in that place that he's prepared for me. But Jesus to his disciples said, listen, the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But I came to give you life. A more and better life. What if you live like you belong right now? What if you live like you belong home right now? So don't wait to live like you belong to God. Don't wait to Don't wait to walk with him. What if this week you began to walk as someone who's already known? What if this week you decided to walk as somebody who is already wanted, who is already loved? Stop waiting. Stop waiting to feel at home with God. Because through Jesus, he has already opened the door. Through Jesus, he has already made a place for you. Jesus, after his resurrection, was talking to his disciples, and he said this: "As the Father has sent me, I am sending you. As the Father has sent me, I am sending you. I came for you, now you go for them." He came looking for us, and then he sends us out to go looking for others. The shepherd pursues others through you. Your faith is deeply personal, but it is not private. Your relationship with Jesus affects you to your very core, but it is not to stay hidden. We can't live our life quietly as if the shepherd's pursuit of us is a private gift only for us. John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him will not perish, but will have eternal life. The shepherd's gift is not private. It is for us, but it's also through us. There are people all around us living the opposite of Psalm 23. And they lead their own lives. And they're restless. And they're fragmented. And they feel the weight of death every single day. The thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And God has placed you in their life for a reason. We are not rescued to rest. We are sent to seek. We should not be content. We're saying, you know what, my stuff's in order. But to hell with them. Some of you are more upset that I said hell than you are that there are people that are lost. And we were sent to seek them. We were sent, not the pastor, not the leader of your small group, not the minister on staff. So who is living the anti-Psalm 23 near you? Who do you need to invite? Who do you need to pray for? To put it a little bit nicer, who do I need to pursue like Jesus pursued me? Because I'll guarantee you something. The person that introduced you to Jesus has a name, and it's not Jesus. They're your Sunday school teacher, your Bible study leader, your neighbor next door, your grandparent, your mom, your dad, your cousin, your coworker. Someone pursued you just as Jesus pursued them. So don't wait Start the conversation. Text them. Call them. But please share the shepherd. Begin living like you've been found. And when you live like you're found, you'll figure out your why. What's your why? Why do you follow Jesus? If it's for fire insurance, you're not following him. If it's so that you know that you're secure at the end of this life, I wouldn't count on that if you aren't following him, if you're not obeying him, if you aren't stepping in and letting Jesus work through you. So why do you keep showing up? Why do you keep pressing forward in your faith? Is it because you remember life without the shepherd? Is it because you remember what life felt like when you were just leading your own life for yourself? You remember what it felt like to chase rest but never find it? Do you remember what it felt like to search for peace but come up empty? Or maybe you've just always known the shepherd's voice. And you've seen his goodness and his love. It's followed you. It's chased after you. It's sustained you. But either way, here's what you know. We are not meant to keep the shepherd to ourselves. The same Jesus who came for you is still pursuing the people around you through you. You don't just follow the shepherd, you introduce him to others. So here's how we can put this in practice this week. Number one, pray boldly. Ask God to place the name of that person on your heart who is living the anti-Psalm 23 life right now. God, would you show me? Number two, act intentionally. Start a conversation. Send an invitation. Offer to pray for them. Be intentional. And number three, live sent. Remember, you are not just someone who was rescued. You are someone who is sent. God didn't rescue you so you could sit down. He rescued you so you could stand up and move. And through it all, the Good Shepherd is still there. And through it all, the Good Shepherd is still pursuing and chasing the people who don't yet know that they are being pursued. Would you let him work through you?